Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Sharon from Mad Paper Crush, and today we're making these really cute note cards with hidden pockets. So they look just like unsuspecting note cards. You can write on the back, but they have a little flap, and when you open it up, there's all kinds of little hidden pockets and flips inside this little note card to put all sorts of little bits of ephemera, secret notes, all that fun stuff. And this one even has more pockets. So when you open this one up, there's still the same pocket here, but I added a pocket on this side and over here. So I was inspired by Gail Agostinelli, who did this with envelopes or something similar with envelopes. And so here is my take, making a note card with hidden pockets. So I hope that you'll join me today as we make these note cards. Come on. Okay, I love this project because there's not too much that you need. You can do it probably with, scraps of things that you have lying around. So you're going to need, if you want to make the same size I'm making, you're going to need 2 4x6 pieces of cardstock. And this is actually double-sided cardstock. So the back sides will be showing on some of them. So you might want to have them double-sided, or you could take 2 pieces of cardstock and, glue them back to back or something like that if you don't have already printed cardstock. And then you're also going to need a closure. So I'm using this 2-inch circle as a closure, but you could use a tab or something like that. So you don't have to have a circle here. You could use something else, but I think a circle works just nicely. And then also you need a couple of strips of fabric. So I have this muslin that I've just torn down. Actually, I think it's probably already torn down to about 4 inches in length. And it's about a 1/2 inch, a little over a 1/2 inch in width. So these are going to be our hinges. You could probably use paper. I wanted to use fabric because I think it will hold better for all the opening and closing that these little hidden pockets will get. And then the last thing is 1 more piece of paper, and I haven't cut this down yet. This is going to be the inside flap, one of the flaps on the inside. So I didn't cut this down yet because I want to do a little bit of measuring after I get going to get that started. So, and then I think we're also going to need, let's see, need some ephemera. So I have some ephemera here that I'm going to use for the inside. None of that is anything, that I need right now. But then I also need just some matching scraps. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use yet, but for the pockets that we're going to put in, I just grabbed a couple of pieces that were matched, the different pieces that I used. So I grabbed a couple of extra scraps for that, and I might use some more of this for pockets and things too. And then for tools, obviously you'll need a cutter if you need to cut things down. I'm going to be using some glues, probably my 3-in-1 beacon glue and my art glitter glue. Distress ink if you'd like to distress things. And I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to work with our 2 4x6 pieces of cardstock. And you just need to decide, what is going to be your top and what's going to be your bottom. So I've decided that I want this one to be my bottom piece since it's kind of plain, and we're going to be, covering it up a little bit on there. And then this one's going to be my top piece because I like the way it matches with this pumpkin. So it kind of looks like it's, it was made that way, which is what I want. I want it to look, sort of hidden here. So then what you're going to do is you're going to decide on the top piece how much you're going to cut down. Now, you could, do it in half if you wanted. I don't recommend that just because you want to leave as much space on the bottom of your card to do your flip outs, to have room for a pocket, that kind of thing. So I think I'm going to keep it rather small, maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches here. And let me just see what that gives me. Yeah, I might just do, I think 2 inches might work good here, maybe even a little bit less. And this doesn't have to be precise because the bottom half will always match up, you know, to the top. So it doesn't really matter, you know, what your size is. You can, you know, do it however you think it looks good. So I've actually taken this, this is maybe, looks like I've got it like 1/32 or 1/8 of an inch less than 2 inches here. And I'm just gonna cut that off. Okay, so this is going to make our hidden little flap here. And because these are the same size, we know that they will match up like that very well. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so this is going to open this way. So you can see here I have, you know, a printed background here, and I want to add a pocket down here, but then I also want to add a little flip that comes out to this side. So this one's going to fold in this way, and then the whole thing's going to fold up. So what I'm going to do, and this is the reason I didn't cut this yet, because depending on how much you cut down here, that depends on the size of your flap. So I'm just going to grab my pencil here, and I'm going to mark my flap. Now my flap, I want to be just a teeny bit smaller than this piece here. So I want it to be, in terms of width, I want it to be a little bit less, and in terms of height, I want it to be a little bit less, because I don't want any obstruction when I'm trying to fold it or anything. That's why I'm doing it a little bit less. And so I'm just using this piece as my marker. And what I've done is I have started my paper just a teeny bit in from the end of this flap, okay? And then I'm going to mark it just a teeny bit in from this flap here. So just about like that. And then I'm going to mark it this way too. So the same thing, I want it to be a little bit less. So I'm going to mark it, I'm going to start with a little bit hanging off on this side, and then I'm going to mark it with a little bit less on that side too. So now I'm going to grab my cutter here, and we'll cut this off. And then I'm going to cut this part off. And then I'll just double check to make sure I did my measurements right, because you know how that goes. And I'm going to erase my pencil marks too here. Okay, so this one I want to kind of flip out this way, which it fits inside this, which is what I wanted. And then when I fold it over, it should have, you know, something all around the edges. So you can see it's a little bit smaller than that piece there. Okay, so now I have my flip out, and I chose this piece because it had the decoration on the left hand side, so that when I do a pocket, I think I'm going to do a pocket on this side like this. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. I might use this one, or I might use this one here, or I might grab another piece. I don't know what I'm going to use yet, but I'm going to do a side pocket here. So just for an example, we're going to cut this down to size so that you can tuck something in here. And then on this piece, we're going to do a bottom pocket so you can put things in there. Okay, so actually that's what I'm going to do now. I think I'm going to look through my papers and decide what I want my pockets to be. And I haven't, that one, I think that one matches too much. I don't want to matchy match here. So I might use this one on something. It's a little bit yellow. That might be fun. Maybe. Or I could use more of the top page, but I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do something a little bit different. So I could use, I kind of like the bird as the bottom pocket. So I think maybe I'll use that one for this. And then maybe what I will do, actually I might use this piece as the side pocket here, these roses, because I can turn them sideways and they'll still look kind of cool that way. All right, I think I like that idea better. So we're going to cut our pockets, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my width here. And this one I'm going to match exact width. I don't want it to be smaller. I want it to be exact width so that my pocket will cover the whole thing. So that's the width that I want. And then for the height, I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to look at what I had done before just to kind of get an idea. I probably eyeballed that, but this one is 2.5 inches. Yeah. So the bottom pocket is 2.5 inches. So I think I'm going to kind of match that as well. And of course you could do this, you know, you could do this any way you wanted. Now, I want to be sure I get the whole bird. So if I look at 2.5 inches here, actually that will get the whole bird. So I think I'm good there. I was going to cut off some of the bottom, but I think if he is, because I don't want to cut any of the bird off. So, and then I'm just going to go out to a little bit about past 4 inches, because that's where I know that my pocket will match the size of my flap. And then let me just move this out of the way. So this will be my bottom pocket. And I like the way that looks. I feel like that's too big though. I don't know. It seems really, really high for some reason. Maybe I'll just take a little bit off the bottom. And for my other one, I put notches in to the top. But because I don't want to cut off my birdie's head, I don't know that I'll do that. Or I could do just a real small one here. But you certainly don't need to do that at all. So let me just mark the center. And I think I'm just going to make a little tiny notch so that I don't cut his head off. Yes, I like that. Okay, and then let's do the same thing over here. So that's my bottom pocket. I'm just going to move that out of the way. So now we're going to work on our flap, and we want this one to be obviously the same height as this. And now this one I have to measure. I can't do it by inches because remember this one is a little bit smaller than my other flap. So I need to mark it there. And then this one, I want it to be about 1.5 inches, I think. That's how the other one was. But once again, we'll eyeball it once we get there and see how it does. Because once again, I don't want to cut through these roses, which that will do. So I'm going to start by just cutting this strip off altogether. Move that out of the way. And then let me see if what 1.5 inches gets me going this way. So I still am going to cut off a little bit of that. Maybe I don't think I'm going to get around that, I don't think. Now I could go a little bit wider than 1.5 inches. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just try to just barely cut it. And then where was I probably cut it right off, didn't I? I think I did. So we'll have to measure again. I think I cut off my mark. I'm just lining them up at the bottom and making sure I have that marked pretty good. Okay. So this is my side pocket. And then for this one, I am going to also put a notch in. And this one isn't quite 4 inches, so I'm just sort of centering it between my 4-inch marks so that I can make a notch here. And this one I'm going to make a little bit bigger than the other one. Yes. Okay, I like that now. Okay, so we have our 2 pockets. And then I am going to, before I do anything else, I'm going to take all my pieces that I'm going to use. I don't think I'm going to be using these. I'm going to take all my pieces and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distress them. Okay, all my pieces are distressed, and I think what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put my hinges on. So I'm going to use my little scrap pieces of fabric here to make my hinges. And the reason I'm doing this before I'm putting the pockets on is because I want the pocket sort of to be the focal point, not the fringy ends of this. But you could do it either way. This is not you know, set in stone here. So that goes there. And then I have to make sure that I line everything up before I put my hinges on, so I know I'm putting them in the right places. So I'm just going to put my pockets to the side for a minute and my flap, and I'm just going to work with my flaps. Okay, so this is how it's going to be when it's all put together. So I know I need one hinge right here, and then this piece I want to fold out and be like this. So I want another hinge right here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to make sure I have a good size piece of fabric. And now this one is a little bit big. So I'm just going to see if I can somehow, it's going to probably be kind of hard to do, but I'm going to try and cut off just a little bit of this if I can. And I mean, tear it off. I could just cut it off, but I like to tear my fabric, and that worked pretty good. And the hinges don't have to be exactly as long as your paper. They can be a little bit shorter. So I just am trying to make it so it's covering most of the flap there, but it doesn't have to go all the way. Okay, so that one is perfect. And so I'm just going to grab, actually, I think I'm going to do my 3-in-1 glue here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a teeny bit of glue right along this edge here, and then right along this edge. And then this fabric is a little bit folded, so, but my glue will kind of straighten it out probably. And then I'm just centering the, the split there in between. And I'm trying to make sure that I have an even amount. So I am leaving a tiny little bit between the two papers, so you can kind of see that here. I have just a little tiny bit left in between there. I could have probably done a little bit bigger than that, but that's okay. And then I'm going to give that a second to dry. But I'm going to go ahead and start working on this hinge while that's drying. So this one probably is going to be pretty close. And actually, I think I'm going to take off a little bit of this too, because I really don't want the fabric going over the edge. So because it's a little bit long there, I am going to try to tear a little bit more off so that it's shorter there. And then once again, I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. I'm going to try and leave a little bit bigger gap on this one. So maybe like 1/8 of an inch in between the two papers. And add some glue. And try and make sure I have my 1/8 of an inch here. There we go. And I did kind of put a little bit too much glue on since I didn't go all the way to the end. So be sure you don't, if you have a little extra glue on the edges, you really want to be sure that your glue is dry before you close it up, because you don't want to glue it shut at this point. That would sort of defeat the whole purpose of having some cute hidden pockets, wouldn't it? Okay, now, while those are drying, I think what I can do is I can put this pocket together. So even our top flap is going to be a pocket. So this is where I want my pumpkin to go. And I think I want it to be just about halfway, half on this side and half off. So I'm going to glue that on first, and I'm just going to eyeball where it goes in the center. And I'm going to take my pencil and just draw a little light line on the back so I know how far to go with my glue because I've done that before. So, and to be sure that I have it, you know, right side up and I'm not, you know, gluing it on sideways or something like that. So that's why I put that little line there. Then I can add my glue and know that I won't go too far. And then what I can do is I turned this upside down now just to make sure I have it on the right, you know, I'm gluing on the right side here. I'm not gluing it upside down. This is how I'm going to have it. So I'm going to flip it over like this. So that's how it will be. And then I will just gently put that down, make sure it's centered, which that was not centered at all. That looks a little better. Okay. And so that's going to need to dry, but I'm going to go ahead once again and I'm going to go ahead and glue down my pocket here. So for this top piece, I'm going to just glue, holding my flap, I'm just going to glue the 3 sides opposite the flap. One there, one there, one there. So that we can tuck something up underneath that. And this is the part you really want to be sure you're lining them up really well, the sides and the top, because you know, we have 2 pieces that are the same size, and if this is off, then when we fold this up in, it's not going to match well. So make sure you get those really lined up as best you can there. Okay, and then we'll let that dry. Okay, but we have a pocket here that we can stick something underneath, which I'm not going to do yet because I'm going to wait for that to dry. But now I can start putting my other pockets on. And the other thing that I think I might do for this one, because this one is the same paper here, I thought it might be fun to add another pocket. So that's getting really crazy, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, and I really like this piece that has this rose on it. So I think I might try and use this. I also really love the words here. Let's see. I think I'm going to cut off a little bit because this is kind of large. So I might cut off, let's see. See what we can do here. I don't want to cut apart too much of so I'm just going to cut off a little bit on the end here where that little berry is, so that I have that. And then let's see what we can cut off the top, or if anything we want to cut off the top. We might not want to. I kind of like that this is showing that it's, you know, a piece of paper here. I think I might leave that. Let me see how that might go. And then we will have to cut some off of the top or the bottom. I think I'm going to cut off some of this top. I don't know why I'm not as crazy about that for some reason. Okay, so I'm just doing the same thing I had done before, lining it up. And this one I'm going to try to match very closely. And that will cut off just a little tiny bit of the leaf there, but that's okay. And then this one, once again, I don't think I'm going to put a notch in it, although I've done notches in all the other ones. All right, you talked me into it. I'll do a little notch in this one, just a little one, because I think I'm going to put it this way. I like how it says auctioneer over here, and the Bronx you can see. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so we'll put a little notch. Try not to cut into my rose too much or at all. That worked out pretty good. And then let's give it a distress. Actually, I should probably make sure that's dry before I fold it over, like I just told you not to do. All right. So we have them all distressed the same. Okay, now I think these are dry. And I am going to just check and be sure I got enough glue on there because I don't want them to come apart. Okay, so now I can put my pockets on. And I'm going to do the same thing that I had done with this one. So I'm going to hold the notch area and just work on the 3 sides. So we'll do this one. I can keep it on the paper. And lining it up at the bottom. And you can see this one is going over the hinge now, that was planned. I wanted it to do that. And then this one, actually maybe what I'll do this one first. I mean, you could do it this way too, if you wanted another up and down pocket, but this would be upside down for me. So I would have had to have done it that way, which I could have done, but I didn't. I didn't do that. So I'm going to do it this way. And you could also, you know how I like to sew. If you've been here, if you've been with me for any kind of time, you know that I love to pretty much sew everything that I do. So this would be cute adding some sewing, but it would also add some bulk. So if you're, you know, good with that, you could add some sewing here too, and that would look really cute as well. Okay, and one more. Okay, this one goes this way. Okay. And I'm kind of really loving this one. Okay, let's give those just a minute to dry, and then we'll see how it comes together. Okay, I think everything's dry now, and let's just take a look at how this works. So now I can fold in this flap, and I can fold this flap up, and then I can gently put that underneath our circle flap at the top. And on a quick look, you wouldn't even know that there's little hidden pockets in here. I love it. All right, let's see if we can fill it too. So I'm going to grab my ephemera that I had, so you can see where we have everything set up. And there's a pocket right up here at the top. So I can slide this in here, this like kind of long tag there. And I pulled out this little pumpkin piece here. Thought this would be fun here. And you just need to make sure it doesn't go over your, you know, fold there, of course. And then I have these 2 little pieces, 2 little note cards here that I can put in here. And I have 2 little tickets too. I was going to put them in here, but I think I might put them in here. I don't know. I don't know where I like them. I don't know. They're cute there. And then when I fold this over now, I have 1 more piece of ephemera that I can put right in here. So this holds a ton of little tiny pieces of ephemera. And there you go. And I can even add some more collage or something to here too if I wanted to. So I really love the way that turned out. And that's it, friends. A fun little hidden pocket note card that you can make probably with scraps that you have lying around. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. And I try to come back once a week or so with new things to try. And if you also like it, you could give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much, friends. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.